Welcome to Yoga for Pelvic Health. The purpose of this video is not to give you a standalone practice that you'll use day after day to improve the strength or the health of your pelvic floor. It is really meant to give you tips and different techniques that you will take and place into your normal yoga practice, whether it's in a studio or your personal practice. Certainly it's fine to do the video, a few times, but it's not what I call a balanced yoga practice. It doesn't have a lot of hip flexor openings and things that I always do in my personal practice. So anyway, I've chosen postures that will help you integrate pelvic floor strengthening, but not it's not what I would call a complete practice. A few things about the pelvic floor before we dive in. So the pelvic floor is a group of muscles. It's just not one muscle. But the good news is you don't have to think about right or left or this muscle or that muscle. They all contract as a unit. And that's a good thing. And the other thing great about the pelvic floor, it likes to play with other muscles, and particularly the diaphragm. The diaphragm is an upside down bowl. The pelvic floor is a bowl. And the two go hand in hand and contract together all day long if you're breathing correctly, meaning through your nose, nice and easy, not this what we call reverse breathing. If what I'm saying is just like, what are you saying? Reach out to me or reach out to someone and check out how you are breathing, because it's so important. The other muscle that the pelvic floor likes to play with is your deepest abdominal muscles. We call it the transverse abdominis, the TA for short. And the pelvic when you zip up your abdomen, a good way to do is feel like you're putting on a tight pair of jeans. It's just a light zip. It's not the jeans you wore in high school. You just wore them a year ago. And when you do that light zip, because we want it light, we want to still be able to breathe even with that zip. When you zip up that belly, the pelvic floor automatically contracts. And way back when I started teaching yoga, I was always, telling people, pull in your Mula Bandha. That's another Sanskrit name for your pelvic floor contraction. And then the zip up your belly, which would be Uddiyana Bandha. But now I just talk about the lift, because I can show you on biofeedback, if you zip through that belly, the pelvic floor automatically contracts. So you don't have to think about it, because I feel like when people think about Mula Bandha, they always want to squeeze. And when you squeeze, you pull inward. We want to lift and radiate outward. And I can, like I said, I can prove to you on biofeedback, if you just do that little bit of a zip, you're going to get a pelvic floor contraction. That being said, you can still focus on the pelvic floor at times. The way I like to teach a Kegel is to pretend your coccyx, the very tip of your tailbone, is a tail. And if you just curl that tail ever so gently, you're going to get a pelvic floor lift. And then when you uncurl that tail, it relaxes. So certainly you can think about that lift, and we're going to do just a little bit in Tadasana, feeling that lift. But most of the time as you go through your practice, just think of that light lift through the belly, and you will be good. So the other thing I do want to impart on you, and really kind of the goal, the purpose of this video, is that certainly you can get your pelvic floor stronger if that's what you need, as far as prolapse or weakness because of some leakage or whatnot. But unfortunately, you can't just be really focused and do them for a few weeks and then forget about it. The pelvic floor needs to consistently be exercised. And there's so many ways to do it, and not just yoga. You can do weight training. You can do, bar exercises or a HIIT routine. But you need to choose something and then integrate that pelvic floor routine or imagery into your program. And if, once again, you could reach out to a pelvic floor therapist like myself, and certainly if you want to do it with yoga, most yoga teachers can help you do that. They have that training. So 3 things about the pelvic floor that we want to be aware of: consistency with doing the pelvic floor exercises or your yoga practice if you choose to do that, and then continuing to do it, meaning that you do it long term. And then the other thing is that it's not that hard. It's wired to contract with your 2 muscles that you probably use most throughout the day, and so therefore it makes it easy. So remember, this is yoga, so before we jump in, close your eyes, connect with your breath, and know that this truly is the purpose of yoga. But of course, we can always achieve other things as well. So as we come to standing, I'm going to use a yoga block for just a few moments. So if you have one, put the video on pause and go grab one. Or what you can do is go and grab a kind of a fluffy hand towel and make a little roll out of it, because we're going to use this for Tadasana. So if you're ready, we're going to start in Tadasana. You can place that towel roll way up into your upper thigh. I'm going to use the block so because it's nice and bright. So you're going to place it in your upper thigh. Your feet are going to be hips width apart. They just naturally fall that way. And the purpose of the block is you will never, or hopefully never, hear me say squeeze. We're going to use that lifting action and let the block help us feel it. So in Tadasana, I frequently will talk about grounding your feet and then doing a little lift through the arch. But continue the lift through your inner lower leg, through the inner thigh. And it's like this long zipper that meets at your pubic bone and continues upwards all the way to the heart. So it's just this lifting energy out through the crown of the head. And then bring the hands to heart center. And just feel how light you can feel just with just that little bit of energy. If your breath is always your barometer of how hard you're trying. Nice and easy breath. So before we start, I just want you to maybe get a sensation of the pelvic floor. You may not feel it, and it's not the end of the world, but I want you to just stay here and just energetically just think about tucking your tailbone. Just think about tucking that coccyx as if you're a little puppy dog, tucking your tail, and at the same time zipping up through the belly, and just feel, hopefully, definitely a lift through the belly or a scoop. And then now relax. And hopefully you felt just a little bit of softness in the vaginal area, the pelvic floor area. If you don't, no worries. Let's just try it one more time. Tuck that tail. Feel the zip of the belly. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Count aloud if you think you're holding your breath. And then relax. So maybe just a little bit of softness. No worries if you don't feel it. Okay, so we're ready to move. I like to use a chair. And once again, you can pause and get one because it's so much easier to learn the imagery when you're not maybe trying harder as if your hands are on the chair, on the mat. All right, and it's also more visual for you. So hands to heart center, press the hands together, reach the hands upwards, lengthen, lengthen. So you should feel just this one long line of energy up the body, and then hands through heart center, bend the knees. So here I want you to really think of that belly button to spine as you bend the knees. Keep the spine long. So here you can place the hands on the hips and then just continue to fold forward. So I always tell people I lift through my belly more with forward folds than any other thing because I'm lifting through my belly as I'm folding. The head is hanging heavy, but I still have that lifting energy through my belly. The hands can go further down your ankles if they need to. And then, so here, it's up to you. Place your hands on your mat, or if you want to use the chair, place your hands on the chair. And all you're going to do is just walk back to downward dog. Little baby steps to keep the block there. And then here, we're just doing like a little vinyasa. You're going to zip up the belly as you move forward into plank. And then really scoop up as you exhale, downward dog. So it's just moving. This is just a great wake up vinyasa, just moving back and forth. So inhale to plank, exhale, zip up that belly, back to down dog. Inhale to plank, exhale, down dog. So I'm not going to teach a chaturanga because I don't like to teach it if I can't watch you do it. People kill their shoulders. So we'll do it one more time. Inhale to plank, exhale, down dog. Draw in that belly. And then walk the feet forward, still little baby steps forward. Exhale, inhale, cross the thumbs, reach upwards, exhale, Tadasana. So now we're going to do a step back sun salutation that once again you'll be using kind of that zipped up feeling and move slowly with your breath. If you get behind, you'll catch up. So press the hands together, reach upwards, maybe a little back bend, and then exhale, forward fold, draw in that belly as you forward fold. This time we're going to clasp the hands behind us and reach the hands away. And I'm drawing through my belly, head hanging heavy. It's like the hands have a string attached to them, wrapped around my belly. So I'm lifting as I reach with my hands, but you're still breathing. And then release the bind, hands to the chair or the mat. Oh, actually, let's remove the block. Hands to the chair or the mat and step the right foot back. So even though you don't have the block now, you still can feel that inner thigh zip. Just keeps the body long. Neck is just naturally long. And then left foot comes back, downward dog. So we're going to move with our breath. Inhale to plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, down dog. Stepping the right foot forward. Feet together, forward fold. Inhale, hook the thumbs, reach upwards, maybe a little back bend. And then exhale, forward fold, shoulder stretch. Clasp the hands, draw in the belly, head hangs heavy. Lifting as you forward fold. And then release the hands to the chair or the mat, step the left foot back. So that same inner thigh lift. Right foot comes back, downward dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, down dog. Stepping the left foot forward. Feet together, forward fold. Inhale, hook the thumbs, reach upwards. Exhale, Tadasana. So there's many sun salutations, and it's just easy to just keep the breath easy, keep the lift as you move through any of your sun salutations. So we're going to come into some standing poses. So we'll start with just an easy sun salutation to get there. So press the hands together, reach upwards, exhale, forward fold. Always bend my knees a little bit as you lift up. And then hands to the chair or the mat, walk back to downward dog. So warrior one, right foot forward, left heel circles down, come up to standing with the hands on the hips. So here you want to think, I'm into zippers. Think of you have a midline zipper, but now the zipper's being pulled to the left a little bit. You're pushing back with that left foot. And you're going to maybe bend the right knee maybe a little bit deeper. Just feel like you're pushing back with that left foot, like the mat, you're going to tear the mat in half. So it's just a lot of energy through the hips and the pelvis. And then when you raise your arms, they feel light as a feather. Breathing. So you just feel a light zip. Your breath is easy. And then you're going to place your hands on your hips, and you're going to turn your feet so they're parallel. So the feet are parallel, hands on the waist. Reach the hands upwards. Turn the right foot to the right. Bend the right knee. Lower the arms. And warrior two. So normally we just go right to warrior two, but I want you to feel that you start with that lift, because so many times people go into a back bend with warrior two. So you really want to get nice length through the side body, just that light lift. And then relax the arms. So coming into triangle. So once again, you want to keep the side body long, so you lengthen. Obviously with that zip, you're going to be tired of me saying zip. Hinging sideways, lengthening through the crown of the head. You can keep the bind with the arm, or the arm can stretch upwards. You can reach in opposite directions, almost like a starfish. The belly is the center of that starfish. And of course the breath is soft. And then looking down to come up, and then bending the right knee, right forearm to the right thigh. Left fingertips reach forward. Side bend. So you're reaching with the left fingertips, the left pinky toe. And then hands to the chair or the mat, downward dog. So other direction. Left foot forward, right heel circles down, come up to standing, hands on the waist. So same thing, pushing back with that right foot. It's like that zipper line moving to the right. So you just got that engagement. Maybe the left knee bends a teeny bit more, arms float up. I like to lead with my thumb, so I'm engaging my back body, but by doing that you get that balance. You're lifting through the belly, but also giving support with that back body. And then just like we did before, this time I'll be facing you. Hands, turn the feet parallel for just a moment. Hands on the waist, reach the hands upwards. So now turn the left foot forward, bend that left knee. So stay lifting and then lower the arms. You can totally change the pose because you just have so much more support versus that kind of backward lean that so easy to go into. Breathe. Hopefully your body feels light up top because of that support. And then relax the arms. So coming into triangle again. So reaching the right arm behind you. Keep that heart open. Lengthen through the side body. You've got that light zip really through the crown of the head. And then if you did before, you can raise the right arm, lengthening. And then slowly come back up. So extended side angle, bending the left arm, left forearm to the left thigh. Right fingertips reach forward. Certainly you could go deeper with your hands on a block or on the mat, but the key is go to where you can feel that sensation of lengthening. And all too often we're just obsessed with reaching the floor when really the elbow on the thigh is perfect. And then hands to the chair or the mat, downward dog. And then walking the feet forward into a forward fold and exhale. Hands to the waist, tuck the chin, slowly come up to standing. So we're going to do Parsvottanasana, intense side stretch. So you're going to come to the top of your mat and step the left foot back, and the right foot is over in the right lane. So you want to take the right hand to the right hip to square the pelvis. So here, this pose, the Sanskrit translation, it's called intense side bend, intense forward bend. So, if they say intense in yoga, they mean it. And the reason it's intense is you engage really all three bandhas. But the key is that you engage them to a point where you can breathe. So first of all, there's a bind to it. You can clasp the hands. You can do opposite forearms or opposite elbows. You can also do reverse namaste if you know it. I'm not going to demonstrate. This is probably fine for most of us. So the shoulders are open. You're going to hinge forward. And you can stay there. You may be better with just keeping the spine long if rounding is not the best for you. But then you can tuck your chin, so that's Jala Bandha. Really lift through the belly. That's Uddiyana Bandha. And as you fold forward. So you can energetically lift as the forehead is trying to energetically reach either the shin or the knee. Keep breathing. So this is just so much happening here. And then tuck the chin and slowly come back up. Release the bind and step forward. Now step the right foot. Right foot's in the right lane. Turns ever so gently. Square the pelvis so the left pelvis comes to the back wall. Opposite elbows. Switch your bind. And then heart is open. Hinge forward. Stay there. Or you can tuck the chin and lift through the belly as you round. Keep breathing. Keep lifting. Soft breath. Focus. And then slowly come back up. Release the bind and step forward. So coming into a few balancing poses. So balancing, I balance all day long. I'm over 65, and trust me, as you age, it doesn't come it doesn't get easier. So I'm always, working on my balance, and it's great because, it works your legs, obviously your core, certainly your pelvic floor. So, and you can do it just randomly throughout the day, and sometimes it's helpful to have something to help you, because what really makes the balance helpful for your pelvic floor and your breathing is to achieve that inner line of energy. And you'll know you've really gotten the sense of feeling that inner line of energy when you feel like you could just stay there forever. And sometimes just a teeny little fingertip on a little chair, or you can reach back to the wall or sideways to a wall, will allow you to feel that. Because if you don't, if you're in tree and you're kind of sideways and you're kind of muscling through it, you're not getting the diaphragm and the pelvic floor just working together, and then in between the belly, just keeping everything in line. So we're going to start with stork pose, which you may not have ever done. It's not a very common pose at all. I think it's kind of one of those made up poses, but what I like about it, you just feel so much lifting energy. So I'm going to mirror you. So I'm going to have you think long on your right side, and so you're going to come to the toes on your left foot. So just kind of balance on your tippy toes or on the ball of your foot. And I want you to really get that nice lifting energy. And if you've shifted, get out of that shift. And if you feel like you need support, either the hand or the fingertip, use the chair or the wall. Now I want you to keep that lifting energy as you lift the left leg. So keep lifting. And if you want to, you can continue and really feel the lifting by reaching the fingertips to the sky. Reach, 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 reach. And then hands to heart center. So if you need to put the foot down, you can. But we're going to transition into tree pose, one that we're used to. You can put the foot on the thigh or the lower leg. Make sure you skip the knee. Feel that lift. You can raise your branches. Keep breathing. And then hands to heart center. Close that hip. Keep lifting as you come down. So hopefully you use some support if you needed it, so that you feel that, you just felt everything. It actually should have felt easier to do. If it feels hard, then you need a little bit of support, because balancing poses are very, very zen. You should just feel very blissful after you do them. Okay, so starting on stork. So you're going to lengthen on your right side. As you can see, it's so easy to shift. Hands on the waist to start with, coming into stork at first. So use a little balance if you need to. Lift that knee, maybe the hands lift. Keep reaching to the sky. And then you can lower, and you can stay in stork, or you can transition to tree pose, reaching the hands high or keeping them. You can always have one hand or finger on the chair and one hand held high. And then wherever you are, you're going to close the knee and then come down. So lots of versions, different versions of tree, changing the gaze and whatnot. You can do a bind, you name it. But don't cheat yourself by starting with a little bit of support, and then it just totally changes the feel of the pose. So one more balancing, which sometimes is a little bit harder for people, but it really builds a huge amount of hip strength, and of course works the core and the pelvic floor. So Warrior 3. So there's different versions of getting into Warrior 3. So I'm going to back up a bit, and we're gonna take a step forward with the right foot. And what you want to do is go slowly, just shift the weight, and you can then lift the left leg or just stay there. Or you can shift forward. I should have moved my chair, but you're going to just transition where you're lengthening with the left, out through the left heel, lengthening through the crown of the head. The hands can come back like an airplane, but think of just a long energy through the heel of the left foot and the crown of the head, and then you can slowly come back up. So other side, you can back up a little bit. Taking a mindful step with the left foot, Don't be in any hurry to change. You can stay here and just balance. You can hinge forward wherever you want to be. Kind of a little jalabanda helps you. Breathing. And then slowly come back up. If that feels easy to you, you can make the lever arm a little bit harder, and you can, I think in hot yoga and Bikram, they I know I'm too close, but they have the arms, the hands clasped, and then they come forward and they hip hinge like so. And so it's just a nice long lever arm, which is good if you feel like you need more resistance, but certainly most of us do fine with the arms by your side. All right, so we are going to head to the mat and just do a few more poses, and then have a nice little ending for you. So just doing a simple vinyasa. Move the chair out of the way. So hands to heart center, press the hands upwards, exhale, forward fold. You can place your hands on the chair or the mat and walk back to downward dog. And then come forward to plank and drop your knees. And then I want you to, for just a moment to hinge back to child's pose. So child's pose, if it's not comfortable with your knees, you can put a little pillow behind you. Your hands can be outstretched to start with, but I want you to transition to what I call full child, where the hands reach behind you. And if this is something that is easy to do, I want you to reach for your sit bone and then just kind of come a little bit inward. And yes, you're on your pelvic floor. And I want you to rest there. Let your hand rest there gently. And I want you to breathe through your nose, not crazy deep, just naturally. And what you should find is that you should feel on an inhale a slight pressure into your hand. So that's the pelvic floor releasing, descending. And then as you exhale, it pulls away from your finger and the pelvic floor is contracting. So that's, I call it my party trick. It's proof that the pelvic floor descends and contracts with your diaphragm. So if you were doing it, here's your sit bone. You were just kind of just on the inner side of that sit bone, your ischial tuberosity, and hopefully you felt it. Once again, if you didn't, it's not the end of the world. So now come up from your child's pose to a sitting posture, and I'm going to just show you that you can still gain a little bit of strengthening even with forward folds. So I'm going to just angle down just a teeny bit more. So with forward folds, it's so easy to just collapse forward, and you know, it's not that bad. It's not that much downward pressure, but why not have one more opportunity to teach your body to move from the hips? You know, if I could give you one huge benefit of yoga, it's teaching people to move from their hips, because we just get so used to rounding from the back. So I teach the seated forward fold almost like I teach boat pose. So boat pose, if you recall, is where you lift the legs and outstretch the arms, and it can be very, very stressful if you have any amount of prolapse. So I don't, once again, I don't teach that unless I have my eyes on what you're doing. So we're just going to do a forward fold. I'm going to just kind of angle myself. So I want you to feel like there's a little fence that you're going to lift to come forward over. And start with the hands behind your knees, shoulders open. We're leading with the heart. And then you're just going to let the heels slide forward. And if you're nice and flexible, they can go all the way straight. But it may be that you stop at a certain point, and then you're there, and then you can let the hands fall where they may, and you're in the pose. So it's not like I'm having a ton of energy, but I do have this sensation of maintaining length. And you can drop your head. It gets you a little bit more of a stretch. My toes are flexed towards me. But of course, the most important thing is I'm breathing. I'm just doing a nice, easy in and out breath. Nothing forceful. I'm not pulling as hard as I can. It's just That is the yoga, allowing the pose to come to you. And then slowly come back up. And this would be the same for Jani Sirsasana, where you, so I'll mirror you, you can bend the right knee, straighten out the left. Once again, lengthen as you fold forward. So this feels nice. It's just, once you get there, it's just feeling that length. Just, you know, a light, maintaining that light zip. And then slowly come back up. So coming into a twist. I love twists for really engaging the belly. So you're going to take your right foot on the outside of your left knee. Left hand reaches up, wraps around your right knee. And you're going to, before you do the twist, so it's half-seated spinal twist, you're going to zip through the belly. And what allows you to twist is really that abdominal contraction. Judith Laster likes to say, you know, feel like you're wringing out your abdominals, you're wringing out your liver. So the twist is really generated from here, but it's you're still breathing. So it's a nice, easy, eventually you just are able to hold a nice lift, a nice engagement, but still breathe easily. And then reverse spinal twist, and then straighten out the right, bend the left. So once again, lift as you come forward. And then slowly come back up. So the twist, so taking the left foot on the outside of the right knee, right hand reaches up, wraps around your left knee. So lengthen, zip, drawing that belly. And then it's just a gentle gaze to your left. And then release, counter twist, and then relax. And then just to kind of straighten things out, Baddha Konasana or Tarasana. Tarasana would be more length through there. Is you want to be forward of your sit bones, and you can lengthen to come forward, and you can stay there, or you can tuck the chin. That would be Jalabandha. And for most of us, this is good. You've got that nice lengthening, and if you've got the little chin tuck, you should feel it at the back of the neck. Certainly it's not terrible to round down, but once again, I feel that if I do go more deeply, I engage my Uddiyana Bandha with pretty much intensity. But then once I'm there, you breathe. It's not the intensity doesn't get higher. You just maintain it and you breathe. And that's the yoga. It's the yin yang, the energy, but the softness. And you should feel it in every pose. And then slowly come back up. And then Yoga Mudrasana, yogic seal, seals the energy of your practice. You can clasp your dominant wrist behind you, shoulders open. So here you're just bowing to yourself to end your practice. So tuck the chin and fold forward. You're honoring yourself for your practice. And then tuck the chin and slowly come back up. Pause here, eyes closed, palms open. So certainly the Shavasana is always a wonderful and very, very important pose to end with, because it truly does bring the energy of your practice where it needs to be. But I always call it, when I teach a class, I always tell them this is their extra treat. And instead of just regular Shavasana, I teach legs up the wall. So you may not be at a place where you can do it, but let me demonstrate it, and then we'll come to the end of this video. So to do legs up the wall, you certainly don't want to strain your back to get up. So the way to get up is getting your hips as close to the wall as you can, and then just effortlessly you lie down and the legs just swing up. And the legs do not have to be, touching the wall. It's not meant to be a hamstring stretch at all. It's just You can, in fact, I could go a little bit further out if I wanted to and still get the benefits. It's an inversion, and that's the purpose of it. It is not to stretch your hamstrings. You're not flexing the toes or anything. So your hands can be beside you, but if you're in the pose with me, or maybe just lie down, close your eyes and place your hands on your belly. So here, no scoop, no Uddiyana Bandha, just what I call jelly belly, just a nice relaxed belly. And you'll know it's relaxed if when you inhale, you feel it expand, and then when you exhale, it falls down. So wherever you are, in Shavasana or in legs up the wall, doing a nice, relaxed, diaphragmatic breath is the most important thing. You could skip everything we've done as long as you end with just a few moments of a nice, relaxed, diaphragmatic breath. And just know, as we're doing, particularly in this position, the pelvic floor is on slack, so we're getting a very nice wave-like movement in the pelvic floor, so it's so beneficial for your pelvic floor to be in this position, and then of course with the breathing. So I'm going to not stay here as long as you should. Most of the time you should stay here for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I'm going to have you lower your legs, roll to one side, and you can come up and feel free to reach out to me at pelvichealthandwellness.net or any other way that is helpful for you. So I hope this was helpful, and namaste.